Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to another live Q&A with myself, Mark Holthe, Canadian immigration lawyer. It's great to see you guys. I know that there is a lot of anticipation as to when Express Entry is actually going to drop below 500, and we are so close. So last week we could see how close it was. It was right on 500. I had predicted in our newsletter, which we send out through Holthe Immigration Law. If you haven't had a chance to see that, go check it out. But that newsletter, we took an opportunity to predict when we thought it was going to happen. And it was probably 2 weeks ago we posted that one. I said it was going to happen last week, and it did not quite get there. It was so close, 500 CRS points. We're also anticipating eagerly what the minister is going to do here in the spring. But for those of you who are patiently waiting, it's nice to see that it continues to take a steady decline. And if we slide over here right now and take a look at our, take a look at the actual rounds of invitations, you can see the last one, they did a large draw, 4,250 people. And if we look back at the total previous rounds, you can see the progression, right? Started with 15, 1750, 2,000, 2750, 3250, 3750, 4250. So you can see this progression that we're seeing, which is actually really positive. Now, if you guys have not gone to the YouTube channel and have not watched the video that I prepared, and I'm going to flip over here and show you the video that is entitled, let's see if I can find it. We've posted a few things since there. This one here, the TR to PR pathway, which is just about at 40,000. This video will give you some tremendous insight into where the minister is really going. And as I indicated in previous videos before that, which if you scroll down and you just go to the videos on the YouTube channel and you scroll down here, you'll see I've got a video, if I can find it, right here that talks at a little bit more detailed, higher level, the fact that the minister's program is not all fluff. And after having released that video, I did one that was a little bit easier for you guys to consume, which is this one. So if you have not watched it yet, this is what the future holds for those working in Canada as temporary residents and transitioning to PR. So make sure that you check it out if you haven't had a chance to look at it. All right. So with that being said, let's give a few shout outs to people that are tuning in. Please post where you're listening from. This time I played a little bit of music as an intro, and I'm sure Facebook and who knows, maybe we'll already start to block it, even though I own the music. It's so frustrating. Like I can't do anything that's fun anymore. Even when I actually own the music, I still end up getting blocked. It's so bizarre. Anyways, the feed is going. I'm happy about that. So post below, please, where you're tuning in from. And I see we've got the Sura is back. It's great to see you, North York, a past alumnus of the Canadian Immigration Institute, the Express Entry course, which is, as you guys know, it's up and running again. And those of you who are looking at getting a complete step-by-step guide to doing it yourself, you can access that right on the Canadian Immigration Institute website. There's a link in the description below, but when you log in here, you can click on Explore Courses. You'll see the spousal course is scheduled for November the 21st. The postgrad's still live, and as of Monday, we will be going live. We've got a great group of people that are tuned in for this one, and this isn't just some little goofy how-to sheet with a step-by-step process that is written in a single page. No, this is a comprehensive video walkthrough on demand that contains over 50 different lessons, all guiding you through the whole entire process. And remember that starting Monday, there will be 1 hour of live masterclass with me each morning, starting at 8 a.m. Mountain Time. That's when we're doing it. So we're going to do it in the morning. So those of you who are overseas, who are on the other side of the world, who want to participate in this, but don't want to have to stay up till the wee hours of the morning to get it, or try to watch it in the morning, I'm now shifting it. So 8 a.m. Mountain Time is when we're going to be launching that next week. So stay tuned for that. All right, let's see who else we've got here. The Sura past alumnus. It was great to see you. Robin, shout out to you. Good to see you. We've got Zakaria, who's over in Saudi Arabia. Hello, Zakaria. Great to have you here. And we've got Lloyd, who's already asking a question. When the next cutoff score, please? Well, I was wrong at 500. I'm going to say the next cutoff score is going to be 497. How does that sound? Let's see how that plays out. Okay. Keep zipping through here. Okay. So, yeah, like I said, when you're tuning in, post in the comments where you're tuning in from. And like I said, as I look here, I see mostly YouTubers. So I'm assuming probably the Facebook feed did not did not work because I played music. Oh man, do I hate Facebook. Oh, it is so frustrating. Their algorithms probably reads that, me saying that I hate Facebook, and that's why they're not promoting it. But anyways, different story. So we'll see if LinkedIn connects in, and those of you who are watching on Twitter, but please do post, especially if you're in those other mediums that are watching, because I'd love to see where people are tuning in from. All right. So with this live Q&A, one of the things that I wanted to share as I start is just some experiences that I had. And as far as announcements, there was a whole stream of announcements that happened last week. Students now working full-time while going to school. I'm a little uncomfortable about that, but you know, you're here to study, and it's going to be really hard to get good grades if you're also working full-time, and employers will take advantage of you. And it's really, really sad to, you know, to see how, you know, going through this whole process, the employers are so eager to have you that, you know, I think it's going to compromise some of your studies. And if you don't do well in school, then it's going to be hard to get a good job after. And, you know, you'll be stuck in these survival jobs, but that's a different discussion. So we'll let it play as it is. But I wanted to share two stories with you guys that are really, really, really heartbreaking. So the first story is a client that I'm working with right now, trying to sort through. They booked a consult with me. They had filed through the TR to PR pathway, and had even gotten an acknowledgement of receipt, and were able to file a bridging open work permit application. Now that work permit is coming to an end here at the end of the year, and they're working as a cook in a position. And unfortunately, as they went through the process, what they didn't realize is that their school was a DLI. It was a designated learning institution, but it was not eligible for postgrad work permits. And what she didn't realize is that if it's not, that education was not eligible for the purposes of the TR to PR pathway international grad category. And so she didn't know. And then of course she gets the refusal. And then what happens? Well, now, you know, she had no idea. So she's wasted over 1.5 years and is now right back at square one, all because she just didn't understand. She didn't see this small little bullet point, this little note in the program guide. And then of course the race to file. And I get that a lot, you guys. I see individuals who have done everything that they thought was correct. They followed all the WhatsApp groups and watched the YouTube channels, and, you know, were in Facebook groups and all these kinds of things, asking all these helpful people. And even in this case, she had a consultant who was filing the work permit and LMIA for her, and no word whatsoever about, you know, the fact she wasn't eligible for the TR to PR pathway. It just breaks my heart. And so now we're just going to try to see what we can do. Maybe there's some miraculous world where immigration will show mercy, and you know, as she pleads her case and say, okay, we recognize your situation. We'll let you go through, even though you're not eligible. I think there's a very unlikely chance that's going to happen, but we're just going to try. There's no other alternative. So the employer needs to go back and get a new LMIA. And then, you know, and then she has to see how things play out. But boy, it is going to be so tough, so tough. So that's, you know, that's one experience that is just really, really tough. And then I'll share another one. And this is a classic one that I see in Express Entry. You guys know that when it comes to applying through Express Entry, I've said this repeatedly, that the government is ruthless. Well, it happens more often than you could ever imagine, applications getting returned. And that's what happened with a client I had a consult with 2 days ago. So they had failed to include a translation, or I should say the original copy of their marriage certificate in their native language. And what happened? Well, after they'd submitted the application, it got returned. And you can imagine how devastated they were. In some cases, the person, you know, it may be your only chance at getting Express Entry, your only chance at getting an ITA. Maybe you have a birthday. Maybe something happens that causes your CRS score to drop. Maybe your language test results are expiring. And in this world that we're in right now, sometimes you just do not get a second chance. So this couple that had filed this application, fortunately, they had French language ability and their CRS score was high enough that they could go back into the pool. But boy, there's so many people I have consults with that I can't help. I can't fix. And like I said, it just breaks my heart when that happens. And so that was part of the reason why I created the course in the first place. And then you have individuals like Thesura who went through the process and, is really, really close to getting everything finalized. I can see Thesura's got a little bit of a message here. Let's see what Thesura says. So he says, let's get both of the messages. Okay, so he says here, got to know that my express entry eligibility, which was review required due to proof of funds, is finally passed. After I sent multiple web forms with uploaded proof of funds docs, an agent said that all other parameters are also passed. And then Thesura says, got a re-medical request on October the 3rd, did the medical on the same day, and got an update on my profile yesterday that the medicals are passed as well. I guess all that's left is to get the visa mail. Absolutely, that's the case, Thesura. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I'm going to give you an applause there because that is awesome. And I know how long you've been hanging in there, my friend. So long. So that's awesome. And the course, you've done everything that you were supposed to do. And now it's just a matter of hanging tight for those last little components. So yes, so there we go. And Thesura is like many people who have taken the course, gone through the process, and were able to file their own application properly. And it's hard because there are so many ways that things can fall off the rails, so many ways. Okay, let's dive in here and let's see if we've got a few more shout outs that we can give. Then we'll get to some questions. All right. Okay, so let's start at the beginning and we'll go, if you're new to this, just post your questions in the feed. Right now, I'm only seeing, looks like mostly, Facebook. I'm sure, mostly Skype, mostly YouTube. So I'm assuming that Facebook probably blocked it because of the music. It's so frustrating, even when you actually own it. But anyways, all right. So let's zoom forward here. Okay, Kunj says, it's almost 5 months now, but did not receive a work permit. Can you please guide on this? Well, it just takes a long time. I don't know which place that you applied through, Kunj, but the reality is processing times are very, very high. And if it's within the processing times, it just is what it is. Okay, Sana says, I'm 41, have a low CRS score. Is it possible to get an invitation? I'm working as a software test engineer. I have two fields of experience, 5122 technical author and a software test engineer. Sana, that is one of these ones right here where I ring the bell and I say, slide over here to our firm website and book a consult, and we can go through in detail. Right up here, speak to a lawyer. We've got a section there. I'm just going to take this and expand this just a little bit. See if I can get this to go up a little bit. There we go. That's better. So head on over here, book a consult, and we can go through in detail all of the possibilities that might exist for you. Now, for those who are wondering, is it worth it? I've got a 380 CRS score. Is it possible for me? Well, yes, it is. We don't know what the minister is going to do in the spring, but all you can do at this stage is get your profile in, and hopefully you've selected the right knock code. And part of the reason we do the consults is to make sure that we're not missing anything, and we can explain options and even tell you if your chances are really non-existent, that you don't have a chance. That's just as valuable as wondering if things are going to turn out. Okay, and then Santa says, tell about the eligible professions, plan to grant PR and for undocumented or working professionals, that it is in the news. Yeah, we don't have any specific details about that, Santa. Okay, let's see who's next. Let's see here. And we're going to try to keep these ones here. Okay, and if you've got complex situations, I see one from Aaliyah here. I recommend that you book a consult, Leah. We'll need to address that in a consultation. Monsoon says, hey, Mark, I am from the place where your education journey began. Can you guess it? Monsoon winter. I don't know. You could be in Winnipeg, maybe. That's where my law degree started. Everything else here was in Lethbridge, or maybe it was the mission I served for my church, which was way over in Portugal. I guess we'll find out. Okay. Sana says, if I get a work permit in IT, will I become eligible to get Canadian PR? You may, Sana. I recommend you book a consult. Okay, Robin says, any idea when the next PNP Express Entry draw will be held? I don't know, but you don't, Robin, I know you asked about this in the past. It doesn't really matter. Like you're going to be eligible under the Federal Skilled Worker, or you're going to be eligible under the CEC. If you go through a PNP and you get a nomination, you're getting 600 points, which under the current system with the CRS score of 500, 600 is going to be enough to get an ITA. So it doesn't matter whether it's open, no program specified, or a PNP draw. All right. LJH says, hey, Mark, my medical exam was taken 4 years and 360 days ago. I'm invited in the next draw. As an inland applicant for CC, do you think I have to take another one? Thanks. Ultimately, if you have any doubt or questions, I include the old one, and then they will give you instructions on what you need to include. Yeah, you're really pushing the envelope, and the parameters around the medical say 5 years. So because if you do get an ITA, have 60 days, I go ahead and get a new one. I don't leave any chances. I don't. So, all right, let's see what's next. And Robin says, greetings from Calgary. It's great to see you here. Okay, what's the minimum overall score in IELTS for EE? Rowan, minimum overall score is really irrelevant. But for the purposes of Express Entry, it's a Canadian language benchmark 7, which is basically about a 6 in all abilities under IELTS. But you're not going to even have a prayer with that low if you don't have experience in Canada. Okay. Lester says, hey, Mark from Vancouver, do you anticipate any pause in draws as IRCC is switching to a new knock? I'm with CRS 483. Can I expect invitations this year? Thanks. IRCC at this stage, we don't see a pause in draws, but we do know that they have a lot of work to do to roll over. And we know that some of the PNPs, and if you subscribe to our firm newsletter, if I slide over here and you scroll down to the bottom here, you can actually subscribe right here to our newsletter. I think it's in the description of the video as well. And one of the things that we're talking about is the fact that some of the PNPs right now have actually suspended the issuance of invitations, or I should say nominations, because they're rolling over to the new tier system. And we have to assume that Express Entry is also going to be taking steps to roll over to the new system. What are some of the things that have happened in the past? Well, you'll remember that the study permit stuff, when studies that were undertaking outside of Canada or online, they added those 3 new questions within the Express Entry system under the study history section. And there wasn't really a lot of downtime when they added those new questions to Express Entry. So I think they're a little bit more sophisticated, a little bit more able to quickly turn things around without significant delays. But the reality is they've had 2 weeks, right, to turn it around since the last draw. And even into November, they've got even more time to do that. So I think they're going to be in a far greater position to make those changes, Lester, without causing the draws to be delayed too much. And we don't anticipate any delays at this stage. Okay. Can I expect invitation this year? I don't think so. I don't think so at this stage, Lester. With where we're at and the timing and how slow things are going down, 483 and the number of people that are in the queue right now, it is quite large. And if you go back and you look at the rounds of invitations and we go back to the actual people that are in the queue, you can see all the way down to 483, you can see how many people are above, right? So we've got 9,000. Well, 481 and 482, how many of these? Maybe there's 2,000 people here. So that's still 13,000, 14, 15, 16,000. And of course, we did have the big drop. And so 4,000 is left. So maybe there's still 12. I think it's going to be hard pressed to see it get down to that level this year, but you just never know, right, Lester? It depends on how big the draws are. Okay, Ruben says, do you have any news regarding Alberta's Express Entry PNP? Thanks. Well, no, I don't. You know, at this stage, like some of the provinces are also going through the process of rolling over. And so if they have a lot of candidates that are currently in, like Alberta, for instance, that are going through the Alberta Opportunity Stream, or that, they're going to be pulling a certain number for that stream with Express Entry. You know, traditionally, if you look back here, and let me see if I can even pull it up for you guys. The Alberta Advantage Immigration Program is what they call it now. They like to change the name, I swear, every 2 days. If we go here and then we just look at the processing times and inventory, we'll go through here, processing times, inventory. Okay, let's flip over here. So you'll see for Alberta, The last time they did a draw was on July 29th, 120, and the lowest score was 473. So the reason that they probably have not been doing more express entry is that they have they have enough spots with the current number of people that are in the queue. You can see approximately 1,075 applications in the queue, and July 25th, 2022, that have not yet been assigned to an officer. And so you can check to see kind of where things are at. And as of October the 13th, which is last week, you can see here they provided 6,500 nomination certificates for Alberta for 2022. So that's how many they can provide. 5,283 nominations have been issued so far in 2022. So you can see that they've really been pumping out nominations, and there's quite a few people, that are already in the queue. So it's not surprising that we haven't seen a new draw for the purposes of the Alberta Express entry stream. And I should say here that the Alberta approximately 260 are in the queue for that one. And then when you scroll down, like I said, July was the last time they did that draw. Okay, just a little FYI for those checking out Alberta, my home province. Okay, Monsoon says, hey, Mark, I'm a PR now. Can my family come here and get their PR? My dad is 60, my mom is 55, and my sister is 17. Click this one right here, Monsoon. Book a consult and we can explore the options. Ultimately, the parent and grandparent, only those who submitted expressions of interest in 2020 are being extended the opportunity to sponsor. And you need to have at least 3 years of paying Canadian tax notices of assessment before you can sponsor a parent. As far as your sister, who is 17, ultimately she would be included as a dependent with your parents. But until that opens up, super visas and things like that may be a possibility to have them come visit. But PR, yeah, I really recommend that you book a consult. Okay, Zagil is in Vancouver. Good to see you. Unique Promise TV says, do you help in determining the right knock? Oh my goodness, do I ever? Yes, I do consults all the time for this exact purpose. And especially those of you who are transitioning as this new rollout, you need to pay very, very close attention to it. I'm not sure if Alicia has finished her blog on this topic. If you guys have not gone to Holthe Immigration Law website, please slide over here and take a look at our blog posts. So we've got the new automated processing of visitor records. How can you prepare a strong study permit application? The new round of invitations, 500. When will the CRS score drop below 500? So you can see what's the most common mistakes in express entry. We've got the French one, Francophone immigration with Cedric. So there's a bunch of stuff that you can check out, and these blog posts are constantly expanding, constantly growing. So make sure you go back there and check those out. But 100% unique. All you have to do is click on the link below that says book a consult, and you can slide in, and it's actually really easy. I've tried to make it as easy as possible for you guys. So click on speak to a lawyer. You can go here and then you can choose the lawyer and that you want, and just simply click on book a consult. And you can see here for me today, I'm full, but tomorrow I have capacity. I've got a lot of room tomorrow actually for consultations. And so it's open season for you. And that's what I recommend. Okay, let's slide over here once again and get to our next question. All right. Let's see here. Okay. We've got Suraj says, hey, Mark, what is the NOC code for the clinical data management profession? That requires understanding your job description. And so I will ring the bell, just like the direction that I gave to Unique here, book a consult, and we can nail that down. But here's the thing. You have to rely on the exact duties that are going to be in your reference letter. If you say I did these duties and your reference letter doesn't include them, well, then IRCC, that's the only thing they have to go on when they're assessing whether or not your NOC really is that of a clinical data management professional. So the duties are everything. Recommend you book a consult and we can sort that out for you. Okay, is it possible to obtain a bridging open work permit after a postgrad work permit, as the postgrad work permit cannot be extended? Yes, absolutely. If you have applied through one of the economic PR programs that is eligible for issuance of bridging open work permits. Okay, Usama says, hey, Mark, I'm in the process of filling out the EAPR after receiving an ITA. I will give you one of these, my friend. He says, what is a good time to get medical done? I did the medical back in 2014 when I came to Canada as a student. Usama, I recommend that you do another medical now. So if you're in Canada and with that length of time period, it's outside of the time frame where the medicals are waived. So I highly recommend that you go and get your medical done now. And I also encourage you to slide over and join me in the Express Entry course. The masterclass starts on Monday. I highly recommend that you slide over here and join me there, Osama. It's interesting. I had some clients that went through the course and still booked a consult and had a bunch of questions. And the course is super, super comprehensive, but they just had some issues that, it was just difficult. We dealt with them in the consult, and then they said, yeah, I think we're probably okay. We probably don't need any more assistance. And I said, well, are you sure? And then obviously I gave them credit for the course. I refunded the fee for their course and they retained me. And when we went through it just 2 nights ago in the evening, I found 3 things that would have resulted in their application getting rejected that were just clear oversights. And I can tell you, Osama, the number of consultations that I do with people who try to do it on their own and then get their application returned and potentially miss out on their opportunities is astronomical. Like, people call me because I'm like the doctor, right? When things don't go well, and they're sick, their application is sick, they call me. And the Law Society says I cannot hold myself out as a specialist, and so I can't. And there's lots of consultants that do that. But the reality is I focus my practice exclusively on immigration and have for the better part of 20 years. And so I'm happy to share that insight, help you with your process. Don't hesitate to book a consult and we can sort things out. But in terms of the medical, I'd get a new one. All right. And when it comes to the course starting, it's no better time, Osama, than right now to slide over and join me. Okay. Jaspreet, CRS 492, file pick status, please. I don't know. Maybe the end of the year. It's hard. It's hard, Jaspreet. Although we are seeing the pool start to get depleted with those high levels. Okay, Vazit says, hey, is there any complications if someone changes their spouse from accompanying to non-accompanying in Express Entry who is inside Canada? Well, the applicant, postgrad work permit spouse, spousal open work permit, it's a huge issue. I've seen immigration allege misrepresentation in those circumstances because your spouse is here and you're listing them as non-accompanying. Yeah, unless there's a very, very clear way of explaining it to an officer how they're intending on not being here and going home, you're going to have a real difficult time. Now, with everything, there's so many people out there that have done things improperly in their Express Entry application, and officers are just working quickly and don't catch it. And then these people go out and tell everybody, oh, I did it this way. This is how you do it. And then people rely on it and get their applications rejected, which is another story I won't get into today. But that has happened to other people. And then they go back to the person who originally told them and they say, well, I don't know, it worked for me. Well, that doesn't help you. It doesn't help you. And so it reminds me, you guys, of the time where I'll tell you a story. My children had unwittingly turned the water into the sprinklers. We have underground sprinklers here in our backyard for our grass. And it was a winter and they, without knowing, had turned the water onto the sprinklers. And you know what happens when you blow out sprinklers, right? The sprinklers themselves, if they have water in them, well, when it gets cold here in Canada, it freezes. And when it freezes, it breaks the pipes and the pipes are under the ground and it's a disaster. Well, come spring, that's what happened. I had a break in one of my lines. Well, I told my wife, I can fix it. There's no problems. I can do it. And she says, just hire a professional. Just hire an underground sprinkler technician to come and fix it. No. I'm going to save the money. I can figure this out. So what did I do? I waited and waited and waited. Didn't get it done. Then once again, my children didn't realize that the sprinklers weren't connected because there was a break in them and I had them apart. They once again turned the water on to do some stuff outside and didn't realize that the water was still running in the sprinklers. And usually there's pressure and it seals it. But in this case, the water just kept draining and then my wife and I were away and there was almost 2 days of water running straight. Think of going to your house, turning on the water and just letting it run for 2 days. My neighbor's backyard was flooded. They called the city and told them that there was problems, and the city came out, realized it, turned off the water to the actual connections, the modules to our sprinklers in the backyard. And there was a huge amount of damage. So what did Mark have to do? I had to hire a professional. And within about a day, they got it fixed. And my wife, guess what she told me? Mark, you should have hired the professional to start with. And you know what? The reality is sometimes, even though you think you can do it, sometimes it just makes sense to hire a professional to get it done right the first time. And in the end, it actually cost me more money fixing the problem than if I just retained, a technician to help me in the beginning. And immigration is not different than that. I'm like that technician that comes to try to fix things. And sometimes I just can't fix it. But in the beginning, if I have an opportunity to help you and direct you and guide you in the beginning, then often I can avoid, almost always we can avoid the problems that you fall into. So there you go. Okay. Zachariah says we have 496 points waiting for 20 months. Yes, lots are in that situation. Okay. All right. So we've got Tardar here. He says, hey, do you see any real effort for clearing the backlog? FSW applicants here with AOR issued 20 months ago with 0 updates in over a year. Absolutely, Tardar. In fact, like I said, I just did, I had a meeting with, with a client yesterday whose application under the PNP was processed in, I'm trying to think how many months it was. It was just over 5 months. And so some, in terms of the backlog, I know they're working on it. Some we're seeing, and it really depends upon where you submitted your application, whether there was some delays, whether additional information asked or anything like that. But this client, I know they had their application. It was a PNP based one that was approved in right around 5 months, really fast. Okay. Saram, good to see you over in Toronto. Let's see who's next here. Okay, Saram says, can I use both NOC A, 2173, and NOC C, which is now included in new tier system, November 16th job for CEC with those jobs related to different fields? Well, you can't right at this moment, but as soon as things change and the rollover, as long as that NOC C is then situated in the tier 3, then you may very well be able to do that. So once again, Saram, like I tell everybody else, the best thing to do when you have a specific situation like that is to book a consult. Okay. Amy says, good morning, Mark. Got lots of queries regarding landing now. Booked a consult. Speak to you then. Awesome. Very cool, Amy. I'm really excited for you. I look forward to connecting with you. Okay. Saram says, and after November 16th, do I just need to log in and update that job with new tier system to get additional points? Stay tuned. Stay tuned, because the moment it rolls over, I will be going live to talk to people about how it works and what you need to do. Okay, let's go to the next one. Oh my goodness, we actually have someone from Facebook. That's a miracle. Okay, Nita says, I wanted to know, how can I apply for a job offer? I've applied on various portals, but not codes 4241 and 1221. So when it comes to job offers, there is no right or wrong way of doing it. You cast your net as broadly as you can. You look for employers in your industry. You contact companies directly. You go on job boards to see if there are job postings. You go to the job bank. You, if you have friends or family in Canada, you reach out to them and see if they're aware of an employer. Are there reputable recruiting companies that are recruiting for specific employers? So all of those things are possibilities, Nita, and it's different for every person. Okay. All right. Yep. Nita, 36 and low CRS, the job offers the direction that you need to go. Okay. Curious is my translator certified and based in Canada. She mentioned that an affidavit is not required. Is that correct? Yes, it's not required if the individual is a certified translator in Canada, but they need to stamp. They need the stamps. Okay. Yusuf. Hey, Yusuf. He says, I know you hate being asked about CRS score predictions, but it's important to get input from an experienced immigration lawyer. Do you think that 485 plus have a shot at an ITA in the next 6 months? Yes, I do. Simple as that. Yes, I do. The reason, you guys, that the scores are so high is because there were no draws for such a long period of time. And when it comes to 485 points, you are still a lot higher than the traditional human capital people that don't have work experience in Canada. So unless you have French or a job offer, work experience in Canada, education in Canada, If you have a master's degree, you have 3 years of skilled work experience, you have at least a CLB 9, which is an 8 in listening and a 7 in the other abilities, and you are 29 years old or younger, how many points is that? 469 points. Well, in order to get 485 plus, you pretty much need a connection to Canada or be able to speak French. So for that reason, Yusuf, I do think that there's a chance that things will go down. Now, remember, we don't know what Minister Fraser is going to do. Right here, our good friend here, we don't know what Minister Fraser is going to do with the targeted draws, but he has the power to be able to do that. So we'll have to just watch and see how it plays out, but I think there is a chance, Yusuf. Okay, Mira says, do you have any clients who have been approved after applying for the postgrad extension public policy? No. I have not yet had any of our clients who've had their work permit approved when applying through the new extension policy. Okay, Mansu says, Winnipeg it is, my friend. Awesome. Big celebration. That was a wonderful, wonderful time that I enjoyed in that lovely city. Yes. Okay. Jeremy says, hey, Mark, just wanted to say you're the best. Thanks for all the info. I'll give you one of these too. Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay. Vicky says, any update for the federal self-employed applications? Ugly, 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 ugly. You know, the government really does not like these. And you see there's a class action lawsuit that was rendered. Self-employed are just so painful and just so painful. Processing times are all over the map. Okay, we'll keep zipping down here. Raman says, please, could you tell me about Manitoba PNP? Is it open nowadays? Provinces are slowing as they transition. I haven't heard exactly if Manitoba has stopped the process, but it's entirely possible that that there's a little bit of a suspension while they all roll over to tier. Okay. Okay, great. Monsoon says, what happens with IELTS if someone is hearing impaired and wants to come and study in Canada? Well, study is something that's different, and I'd recommend that you book a consult. But for the purposes of express entry, there are accommodations that can be made to basically average scores when people have learning disabilities or other, physical disabilities. And so there's a mechanism in place for it. When it comes to school, I think those same types of mechanisms will also be in place. It just depends upon the school, depends upon the accommodations that are available, depends upon the functioning, but I've never really tried Monsoon. So I recommend that you book a consult and we can look into this, and because I've never had anyone ask that question before. Okay, Jackson says, my express entry profile has been rejected. Please, what should I do about it? Please. Right here. That's not the one. That's the one I was looking for. Book a consult. Slide over to our website, book a consultation, and I will go in and I can take a look, and I can guarantee that I can tell you what the problem is. So slide over here, click on speak to a lawyer, slide down, book a consult, and we can literally talk about it tomorrow. So connect in and let's see if we can get that sorted out for you. But I need to look and see how you answered the questions in order to sort it out. Okay, we had a super jump in, and okay, Flavio. All right, so Flavio, let's see what Flavio says. Can a express entry application get refused because on the reference letter, the duties are listed in the same order and with similar wording as in the government site? There is a significant chance they will question the validity of that reference letter if all the person did was copy. And I'll be honest, I see a ton of immigration consultants who are just lazy, and that's what they do. The employer says, well, you do the reference letter, employee, and the employees retain the consultant to help them. The consultant just takes the knock duties and just copies them verbatim right into the reference letter. And that is not what you do. In fact, there's specific instructions not to do that. So yeah, Flavio, I seriously recommend that you book a consult so we can go in here, we can sort it out and see what the actual consequences are. I hope you haven't filed your EAPR. I really, really hope you haven't submitted it yet. But yeah, book a consult. Let's take a look and see if we can sort it out. Okay. All right. Mira says, thank you for everything you do for all of us. Mira, that is so kind. There's a super chat dropped here to say thank you. That is so awesome. That means a ton to me. It really, really does. Thank you. Okay, let's keep zipping down here. Get back on track. We're just about at the end of our session here. Okay. Ali says, hey, Mark, can you kindly clarify the PCC rules? I have a PCC for my country. And guys, once again, I will say over and over and over again, right here, when you go into here and you purchase the course, as I scroll down here, you will see that there is a whole module, number 6 right here, that is all about the documents. And what do we have here? Police certificates. And if I scroll up here and I click on my login to my portal, this is exactly what you guys will see when you log in. You'll see that the express entry course right here, when I open it up and you scroll down to module 6, mastering your documents, and you go to police clearance, police certificates, there is an individual lesson here that I spend 24 minutes going over every aspect of the police clearance certificate process. And what do I have along here? I have sample police certificates from a number of countries. And so that's just the one module alone that is related to police clearance certificates. But let's take a look at Ali's question here. So Ali, get over there and join me. Subscribe to the course and join me on Monday, because we'll be going live in a masterclass that has every morning for 1 hour. It's all recorded. It's all available for life. All of the sessions are all there, and you can watch them. The ones that you need to, you can skip through the ones you don't and bring your hardest questions. And if you subscribe now, you've got time to go through and save up all your awesome questions for next week. Okay. Ali says, hey, Mark, can you kindly clarify the PCC rules? I have a PCC for my country of origin, which is expired, but I haven't traveled home since issued. Do I need a new one now? If you have not returned back to that country since that police certificate was issued, and what I mean by that is you obtained that police clearance certificate after you left. If you were still there and you got it, even for a day, I will always get a new one. If that police clearance certificate you obtained after you left that country and you've never been back, then it's still valid. If it's been 15 years since you had the police clearance certificate, then I recommend you just get a new one. But that's the basic rule. If you're still in that country, or if the police clearance certificate was issued, while you were there, and then you left, I only treat it as being valid for 6 months. Okay, we've got another super that popped in here, and these suckers get my priority right now. So let's see, Yusuf. Let's see what Yusuf has got here. I think I got your question, Yusuf, but let's get it. Okay. Okay, Yusuf says, thanks, Mark. We all need some help. I hope to latch on to. I promise I'll buy you a coffee if I get an ITA. 480 squad. I hope you all get an ITA. Here's hoping. That is fantastic. I love that. I wish I had something. Let's see. Maybe I got that. That is such an awesome comment. Let's see if there's something even better. How about this one? There you go. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Yusuf. I really, really appreciate that. Okay, let's see what we have next as we jump down to some additional questions. Let's see here. Where are we? Okay, so I think we're here. Ravneet says, has anyone whose postgrad expired in December 2020 and received approval work permit under this temporary policy? So remember, you submit the application, and the reason that people haven't is because processing times are really high. So Ravneet, unless you are outside of Canada, and maybe processing times are different in different countries, if you look at the IRCC processing times, and I'll slide over here and just show you what I'm looking at here, and you pull them up, the general work permit processing applies. Now, it's possible it could come back faster in some cases, but generally speaking, a work permit from inside Canada, you can see how long it is. 168 days. That's how long it takes. So divide that by 30. Let's see. 168 days divided by 30 is over 5 months. All right. And that's the reality, Ravneet. Dali says, how long does PR sponsorship application take? You know what? It just depends on the country. We've seen some applications from within Canada get processed very, very quickly. Like we're talking within 5 months. Others I've seen that are 10, and in some countries like India, it can take a lot longer too. And so It just varies depending upon the source country. Note, Dahlia, requesting GCMS notes does not delay the application despite what IRCC says, because the access to information folks are the ones who go into the system and take a look at the notes, and that doesn't impact the officer. Only if you were to request a complete copy of the application that was submitted, maybe there'd be some delays, but even then, everything is electronic now. Well, it will be. I guess some people have paper-based applications that have been filed, but yeah, it shouldn't, I don't see any impact on it. Okay, Jackson says, is it possible for me to come with my daughter through Express Entry profile if only I have been given an invitation for PR? It just depends. They're two separate processes. And yeah, is it possible for you to come? I'm not sure if you're asking if you come temporarily and then after your PR is approved, like while your permanent residence is being processed, if you're looking for a visitor visa or how it is, I'd need more information, Jackson. Okay, so Viraj says, I had study permit valid till April 30th, but did not travel during that time due to COVID. Then apply again. Same college and same course was refused, stating program is irrelevant. What should I do? Right here, book a consult. One of the things that we deal with all the time, Raj, is refusals. And you can see on our website that we have a ton of resources that are designed to help you guys. And like if I just Google search here, refuse, let's see if that pulls up. It might have to be an exact match. I can't remember how detailed it is. Okay, judicial reviews. Oh, it was there and then it disappeared on me. If you go down here, you'll see that we've done a lot on refused applications, reconsideration requests, all those kinds of things. Let me see if I can find this here. Forms, takeaways, PR card. What do you need to do to get it on time? Oh, looks like that's why, because it's already on the other page. We've got so many blog posts here. Yeah, my visa application was refused. Prepare a request for reconsideration. So this one here that was done by Cedric is a very good overview of some of the options that are available. And so I highly, highly recommend that you look at speaking with one of the lawyers in the firm, and you can we can give you some specific advice on what to do. Okay, let's see here. Yeah, you're still in the queue there, Dahlia. 7 months. You can see when you look online with the processing times, the average is quite high. And let's flip over and take a peek at it. So if we go here, family sponsorship, spouse living outside, we'll say, you can see it's 22 months. Spouse living inside, it says 14 months. So you're still well within the processing times. All right. Next, Thesura says, Mark has a NOC selection tool in his Express Entry course, which was super useful in selecting my NOC. Yes, I do. And where is that NOC selection tool? And this is once again a plug, guys, for the course. So the course right here, let's zip back. I think I've got it here. Let's go and just pull it up again. If you guys click the link, you'll be able to pull it up in the description of the video here. But if you, maybe let's just pull it up here. I've got so much going on here. If you pull it up, you can see when you go to the courses and you scroll down here to Express Entry course, this is starting. So this one on Monday, the 24th to the 27th, but you can access all of the courses, all of the material right now. And in the record of employment section right here, if I flip back to the actual section, let's go back to records of employment. You'll see right here, as I dive in, that we have the NOC selection tool template right here. And so you can get access to that, and that will help you to be able to establish what your NOC code is and present it to an officer in a way that they will agree with you, which is really what we're shooting for, right? So thanks, Thesura. I really appreciate that shout out and that thumbs up for the NOC selection tool. Okay, let's see here. Okay, Dahlia says, do you need to get an upfront medical for Express Entry application, or do you wait till they request for it? It just depends. It depends on whether you're outside or inside. I always tend to advise my clients to get the medical up front if they're able to do it. Okay, let's see here. Osama says, my common law partner is a Canadian citizen already in Canada. Will they need a medical too, even though they are unaccompanying? No. Yeah, if your spouse that is listed as unaccompanying is a Canadian, then there's no issues with that. Okay, and no, they don't need to do that. Okay, so here's another example. Shameen, I recommend, I'm going to ring the bell. I'm going to slide back over here to our website. Anyone who's asking specific questions about how do I qualify, go to our firm website, click on speak to a lawyer. It'll take you right here, book an immigration consultation, and then just select the lawyer that you'd like to connect with. That's the best way to deal with that. Nita says, can you be of any help to me? Yes, I can. You just need to book a consult and I'd be happy to help you. Okay, Saram says, thanks for reply, Mark. I'll book consult with you to get things clarified. Awesome. I will look for it, Sarah, and I'm excited to connect with you. Okay, Orlando, Supermark, do you have any additional info regarding the new program for regulated construction worker status inside Canada? I don't right now, Orlando. That is a great question. I don't have information on that, but that's something that we will look at and potentially do a video on in the future. Same thing, Rowan, book a consult and we can sort out the knock code. Okay, Tartar says, thank you, Mark. You rock. Well, you do too. Okay, Tara says, I've applied for a visitor visa on last of February, but still no results. What I need to do, same thing. I just keep clicking on this triangle and directing you guys to book a consult, because the problems when you have applications stalled out or refused or those specific things, we really need to dive in a lot deeper and get more information to figure out exactly what could be the problem. You know, the source country, what you put in your original application, all those things play a role. Okay, Tarminder says, hey, Mark, I'm traveling outside Canada and my PR is in process. Do you think I need to update any of my documents? Well, it depends on which program you're in. I'm assuming if it's just travel and you're retaining your residence, then there isn't anything to update. If you are away and, you know, for more than 6 months, then it's possible that a police clearance certificate could be triggered. But it's hard to know when I get a question like that, Tarminder, because I don't know your situation. And with this limited information, it's hard to say whether or not you have an obligation to update anything. But yeah, generally speaking, if there's no address change, no employer change, it's just a visit or a holiday abroad for a short period of time, like a week or two, then really there's nothing to update in your file. But if it's not that, then it just, yeah, I'd need more information. Okay, Tala says, hello from Senegal. I've made a request for reconsideration after my study permit was refused. I got an email from IRCC saying that my application has been reopened. What can I expect? That's actually really exciting, Tala. Now, what can you expect? That it's going to be sent to another officer. They're going to take a look at it, and then you're going to make determinations at that stage if they are going to approve it based on your request. So that's great that they considered to, reconsidered. I don't know, Tala, if you probably hired a representative maybe to help you with that. I'm not sure, but fingers crossed. Okay, Harsh says, do we have new knock code list for ONP Tech? Not yet, not till November. Mario says, good morning, Mark. Is it required to get an ECA for every single level of education acquired? For example, each for high school, bachelor's, master's, or is it okay to only get it for the highest level? I have had success getting it for the highest level. I've never had an application refused when I've only listed master's degree in the education and have listed, no, I don't have an ECA. So there's a couple different ways of approaching it. If you put the education in your folders and you indicate that you are, that no, you don't have an ECA for those bachelors, let's say in the high school, it's never going to be an issue if you do it correctly. And in the course, I teach people how to do it correctly. It's always a dance. There's so many different variables. And the consequences of getting it wrong, guys, are just astronomical. And that's why I love to do these master classes, because I can workshop, 40 people instead of one person at a time. And everybody benefits from everyone else. Everyone who subscribes to the course and takes the course, it's just like a family. Everybody's all together. And when one person asks a question, whether it's about the records of employment, which is basically knock codes, whether it's police certificates, whether it's how you fill out your EAPR, right, as a principal applicant, the personal history, which is the address history and the travel history, all that kind of stuff. When people ask questions in these live masterclass sessions that I have right here, I have the ability to dive deep into express entry in a way that I can never do here. And there isn't a single question that people ask that doesn't get answered. So I'll highlight that for you. Okay, I'm going to go here. Vraj, I think we've got your question answered, but let's just see here. Vraj, I think we did. Yeah, I think I covered that one, Vraj, about the study permit till April 30th. Yeah, it's really tough that they have refused it. And I'll be honest, there's got to be something strange with that. So I recommend you book a consult. We can sort that out. Okay, last question. Let's see what we've got here. Orlando says, thanks, by the way, because of you and your lives, I've passed the Queen's ICL program. That's great, Orlando. Congratulations. Vergara says, Mark, do you handle study permits or just Chanel and Cedric? I do as well. So I handle all types of applications. Chanel and Cedric do a lot of them, and they're just as good as I am with study permits. So don't hesitate to book consults with them. Don't hesitate to use them. I just focus on certain areas and they focus on certain areas. Obviously 20 years, you learn a lot of things. And yeah. Okay. Jennifer says, if we book a consultation with you, is that deductible to your retainer fee? In some cases, Jennifer, it is. In some cases it is, but not always, because it depends upon the type of application. Andy, good to see you over in Ottawa. Thanks for connecting in. And Amjad over on Facebook, good to see you as well. All right. Let's see here. Okay, Gilbert says, hey, Mark, is it necessary to book a consult for the application which has exceeded the normal processing time? I'm not quite sure what you mean. Yeah, like as far as exceeding the normal processing time and following up and figuring out what's wrong. Yeah, we always book a consult to start with that. And then, okay, Killer Jean says, hey, sir, I need information about required IELTS band for work permit PR. It just depends on the situation, my friend. Depends upon the work. It depends upon which PR program you're looking at, your work experience, all those kinds of things. And then last but not least, best province. Yeah, if you're an international student, I'm currently in BC taking post-diploma in tourism and hotel management. For you, I'm going to actually direct you to go back to the YouTube channel right here. And what I want you to do is, if you have not watched it yet, to go to this video right here, my TR to PR my top 6 takeaways. And if you open this up here, and I'll just pause it. Okay, the top 6 takeaways from the minister's report. This here has had almost 40,000 views for a reason, because I went into great length explaining in this video, especially number 6 right here. Let's see if I can get number 6, this one about international students. I basically state, as I start this, okay, so international students must be strategic about where they are studying in Canada. So that is one I would direct you to check out. And I know that in there, you're going to get some insight that is really going to help you to figure out whether or not what you're doing right now is worthwhile. Now, ultimately, when you're already studying, it becomes difficult because you're locked into that province. But the minister specifically talked about the fact that they're going to encourage people to go to smaller communities, to study in different locations, not to go to the main provinces where everybody studies. So there's lots of good nuggets in there. Definitely go check it out. All right, we're going to wrap this one up. Thanks, guys. Remember, subscribe now for the course. Join me. Just like the Sura, just like all the other individuals who have come on giving shout outs to the actual course. It's worth every single penny that you pay. And you get direct access with me in those 4 hours of masterclass to ask anything you want. It's a lot of fun. It's a great learning environment. I put on my old teacher hat. I was a high school teacher, and that's how I run the course. And the on-demand material lets you have access to watch it whenever you have time. And as you're going through the course modules, like I've explained over and over again, there's something for every single situation. And module 6 will help you to avoid the most common issues that people run into when they're trying to claim their, basically the eligibility for the Federal Skilled Worker Program or the CEC, and ultimately establishing that they actually do have the experience or the education or the funds or whatever it might be to qualify for express entry. So go check that out, and we will see all of you guys in maybe tomorrow even, Alicia and I with another live. All right. Take care, everybody.